Hey guys, we're going to go over how to tune your violin today because that's a big part of practicing. You don't want to practice if your instrument is not in tune. There's not much point, right? So we're going to go over how to tune that because that can be pretty intimidating because it is kind of tricky and you do have to kind of crank on these pegs a little bit. So I'm going to kind of go over the mechanics of those and how you can safely give this a try. So I would make sure you have an adult help you do this. I usually don't teach this to kids until they're junior high or so, just because it takes a bit of strength. So first, your string names or your strings should be tuned pitch-wise. E, and then A, D, and G. And this is way out of tune. So when we tune, we're going to want to start with the A string. So you start in the middle, and then we're going to go in order down. So it's going to go A, D, G, and then you tune the E string last because it's the thinnest and has the highest tension. Kind of like when you're tightening lug nuts on a car. Like you don't go in order. You kind of rotate and then go back and check them. So we want to bring all the notes up to pitch evenly so we don't risk breaking any strings and putting a lot of tension on one end, especially when it's way out of tune. So the tuner, if you have a snark, it can fit right on the edge of the headstock like that. Or if phone works too, it'll pick up the vibrations. Make sure it's set to 440. So if there's a number on it, make sure it doesn't say 442 or anything else. It needs to be calibrated to 440 for the A string. That's the frequency of the vibration we're going to tune to. So I'm going to start with the A string. And you're going to follow that up into the peg box and see where that's connected. You're going to see which peg it's connected to and the direction it's wound. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen that peg a little bit. So these pegs are held in here just by tension. And the way the peg looks is it looks like this. It's one piece and it's just tapered. So in order to move it, you have to do two things at once. You have to turn it, but you also need to be pushing in or pulling out as you turn it. Because if you just turn it, that friction needs some direction because it's just a hole in the side of the peg box and then the tapered peg. Unlike a guitar or a mandolin, we don't have gears to help us tune. So, really important is to look and see which direction the string is wound. You're going to want to make sure you turn that peg to loosen the string. That avoids any chance that you might accidentally push really hard and break the string. And it gives you a feel for the tactile sense of what you're working with because every peg is different. So I'm going to start up here. I know this is my A string. It's the blue one back here. And to loosen is going to be counterclockwise for most. Yeah, should be counterclockwise. So I'm going to take that. Right now it's saying I'm at F sharp. So I'm going to turn it down first to get a sense for the feel of it. So I turn it just a little bit down. There, just so I know how hard to push. So I pulled out and loosened at the same time. So you're pulling out and loosening, and now I'm going to push in and tighten. And if your peg slips, that means you need to push in more. If it's not moving at all, that means you need to loosen it quite a bit more to kind of pull it out. So it's kind of a get a feel for the peg type thing, and you do use your hand strength a fair bit here. But always loosen to get a feel for the peg before tightening, and that should be a safe way to check your tuning if you want to mess with these pegs. And I suggest giving it a try just because it is a good thing to learn. I'm sure the music stores are still open. You can go get another string or they can help you put it on. So I'm tightening it now. And every time I tighten it, I check what the pitch says. So now I'm at G. Now it says G sharp, so I'm getting higher. So I want to get to A. So I was at F. So I had to go F, G, A. So I knew that the direction, if you go in the alphabet in the normal way, the pitch should be getting higher. So you kind of have to say the alphabet to know which direction to take the pitch. Okay, so now I'm just about at A, and I'm going to stop there because I'm going to check the fine tuning on the second round. So I'm going to leave my A there. That means it's a little flat, so it still needs to come up a little bit. So now I'm going to move to D. My D string says C sharp, so find the peg that the C sharp goes to in there, loosen first, and then tighten. And push in and tighten. There's D, and then G. So it says F, so I need to go which way? Up, right? F, G. So loosen a little bit first to get a feel for it. And pull out when you loosen, and then now I'm tightening. Oh, and I just heard some adjustment happen because I'm tightening all the strings. And then E last. Ooh. And be careful with the E string. That is the trickiest one. The easiest one to break because you can't over tighten. Okay, so now they're all close. So I'm going to go back to A. So it said G sharp, so it changed a little bit. And you want it to go the second time around when you're fine tuning it. Whoops. Got really loose. You want it right in the middle. Right now it's a little sharp. That's pretty close. G and E. And then to get it just right, you can use the fine tuners here for each of the strings, and those are geared, and so you can tune it and get just the right pitch that way. And so that, just give it a good crank and then check it on the tuner there to get it so that, so I'm going to turn my A string fine tuner until it's right at the blue line. And that's how to check your tuning. I hope I covered the tricky stuff. Let me know if you have more questions on it. Just shoot me a message. All right, good luck with the at-home tuning.